The following video will explain Section 16, Sick Leave, On-the-Job Injury and Retirement, and Section 32, Attendance Policy. The video is about 12 minutes long. You may pause the video to take screenshots or look for the corresponding infographics on the AFA Alaska social media pages or at contract2022.afaalaska.org/TA. Before I get into the details, there are two very important facts. Your total sick leave accrual remains unchanged, and even though there are two sick leave banks, your access to either of them is unrestricted. You may use either bank at any time. Which bank you use is a strategic decision to avoid attendance points. In this video, you will find answers to which changes are necessitated by Washington and Oregon paid sick leave laws, how our tentative agreement exceeds those state laws, and how the state bank allows for more flexibility. Despite management's preference of applying sick leave laws on a state-by-state basis, Section 16 has been negotiated to incorporate the most beneficial state sick leave provisions across the board. The state of Alaska currently has no sick leave protections, and the state of California has an exemption for employees covered by a collective bargaining agreement. Our negotiating committee bargained to ensure our flight attendants will have more flexibility than legally required, while also placing restrictions upon management for things like the verification periods, which I will discuss later on. The total sick leave accrual rate is the same as our current industry-leading rate. Just like today, for every 10 TFP worked or credited, including vacation, but excluding sick leave and stranded pay, you will accrue a total of 1 TFP. With the tentative agreement, that 1 TFP will be split into thirds. 2/3 will go into your CBA bank, and 1/3 will go into your state bank. For example, if you were credited for 75 TFP in 1 month, you would accrue 7.5 TFP of sick leave. 5 TFP will go into your CBA bank, and 2.5 TFP will go into your state bank. Let's look at the way the CBA bank accrues on its own and its uses. Your CBA bank use will be the same as your current sick bank. Under the tentative agreement, 2/3 of your monthly accrual based on worked and credited TFP will go into your CBA bank. Sick family will still be deducted from the CBA bank with no points assessed, provided you have sufficient TFP in your CBA bank to cover the sick family call on a day-by-day basis. The following will not change from the current sick leave and attendance policy provisions. Industry-leading accrual rate between the two sick banks, up to 6 banked points under the attendance policy, quarterly and yearly record improvements, the same attendance point values, an 18-month point roll-off, the termination threshold point amount at 12 points, and the single continuous occurrence of illness of up to 10 days. The following provisions will change. The maximum sick bank accrual has been increased, and in addition you will have 3 point reduction form submissions annually. The 3 point reduction forms will be in addition to the state bank's protections. The state bank will be discussed in detail shortly, but as a preview, the state bank has no attendance points. You can use it strategically multiple times throughout the year to save your point reduction forms, and you can use it when you need time off for qualifying events other than illness. The maximum CBA bank accrual has been increased from 1,700 TFP to 2,400 TFP, and the retirement payout has changed to 25%, 50%, or 100% of your bank balance based on the amount in your bank at the time of retirement. In summary, your CBA bank will function the same as your current sick bank does, but with a 2/3 accrual rate, the same protected absences such as intermittent family leaves of absence and sick family, the same attendance point values, an increase in the maximum accrual, and improved payout upon retirement. With the addition of boarding pay, you will have an increased accrual rate. When using the CBA bank, you will not need to verify the reason for your sick leave, and sick family remains the same as the current agreement. Now let's break down the state sick bank accrual and use. Going forward, 1/3 of your monthly sick leave accrual in TFP will be deposited into your state or protected bank. Upon contract implementation, 40 TFP from your existing sick bank will automatically be rolled into your state bank for immediate use. The state bank has expanded allowed reasons for use beyond illness. This includes preventative care, domestic violence, harassment, sexual assault or stalking, bereavement, funeral, or making necessary arrangements, public health emergencies such as school or child care closure, evacuation at domicile, and unsafe air quality or heat index at your place of work. Importantly, no attendance points will accrue when using the state sick bank. The legal requirements of the protected or state bank are: there are no attendance points when using the state bank. Probationary flight attendants can use their state bank after 90 days and they will not receive an occurrence. Using your state bank does not impact yearly or quarterly record improvement, and state bank sick leave TFP counts towards achieving the Productivity Premium Program payout. There is no state bank accrual limit during the year. At the end of the year, you may have a maximum rollover of 40 TFP to next year's state bank. You can transfer the balance in excess of 40 TFP to your CBA bank, or you can choose to pay it out at 100% rate. During a verification period, the company must reimburse you for any out-of-pocket medical costs when using your state bank. State law allows the company to require verification for use of state bank sick leave throughout the entire year for any absences over 3 consecutive workdays. Our negotiating committee negotiated a reduction to the company's legal allowance. Verification was reduced to 3 10-day periods per year, with a requirement for the company to notify flight attendants at least 2 days prior to the start of each period. If we are not in a verification period, or the verification requirements are not met, no further action is required for your sick call to be protected, and no attendance points will be assessed. If we are in a verification period and verification requirements are met, you must provide a note from a healthcare provider or other substantiating evidence within 10 days of the initial call. Keep in mind the company must reimburse you for any out-of-pocket medical costs associated with a verification period when using your state bank. The verification requirements are that the company has given notification at least 2 days prior to the verification period's start, and that your absence is more than 3 consecutive workdays. Verification periods will be the same dates for everyone in all domiciles. The verification periods will be a maximum of 10 days and are limited to 3 periods per year. You will only need to provide verification if your absence during these periods are 4 consecutive workdays or more. You will have no verification required if the first sick call of a single continuous occurrence occurs prior to the company's 2-day advance notice, if you use your state bank for 3 or fewer consecutive workdays, or if you use the state bank outside of a verification period. Use of the CBA bank will never require verification. If there's not enough TFP in your state bank to cover your entire sequence, and you designated the state bank to be used, it will automatically switch to your CBA bank when your state bank cannot cover another full day of the sequence. You are then able to use your point reduction form or banked points if available. In summary, on implementation, 40 TFP from your existing sick bank will automatically be rolled into your state bank for immediate use. The state bank will accrue 1/3 of your monthly TFP. There is no maximum annual accrual amount. At the end of the year, you may roll over anything in excess of 40 TFP to your CBA bank, leaving 40 TFP in your state bank for the following year, or cash it out at a rate of 100%. This bank's improved and gained provisions include protected sick leave with no points, additional sick leave application situations, and improvements above the minimum legal requirements. Now that we've covered the differences between the banks, which bank might you use in various situations? I'm not feeling well and I haven't used my point reduction form. Using your CBA bank allows you to call in sick, then you could use your point reduction form to remove your points for up to 10 days, just as you would currently. As an alternative, you could use your bank points if available. I'm not feeling well and have already used my point reduction form. Your state bank does not accrue attendance points. As long as the occurrence is not during one of the 3 allowable verification periods per year, an option you might consider is to use your state bank. No further action is required. The company must reimburse you for any out-of-pocket medical costs associated with a verification period when using your state bank. I have a doctor's appointment that I cannot reschedule, and no one is picking up my trip that's posted for grab. Preventative care, such as a doctor's appointment, is covered by the state bank. When you call crew scheduling, you might tell them you're using your state bank to call in sick so that you don't accrue any attendance points. As long as the absence is not during a verification period, no further steps are necessary. If the absence is during a verification period, but is 3 consecutive days or less, no further steps are necessary. There's a wildfire near my home. I have to evacuate and it's a verification period. Now what? Using the state bank during verification periods means if you are out for more than 3 consecutive workdays, you need to provide evidence of the reason for the protected sick leave. If your leave is under 4 days, no verification is necessary. I called in sick for my 2-day yesterday. I designated my state bank for the absence, but I'm still not feeling well and I have another trip coming up. I don't want to exhaust my state bank. What should I do? By default, a sick call will be designated to the CBA bank unless otherwise indicated when calling crew scheduling. If you've called in and designated either bank, but later decide you would rather have used the opposite bank, you can call crew scheduling prior to the end of your next sequence and switch banks. You may then use your point reduction form or banked points, if available, if you're switching to the CBA bank, or your leave will then be protected if switching to the state bank. To review, your CBA bank use will be as follows. Call crew scheduling, designate your CBA bank for your sick call. There is no verification required. You can then utilize your point reduction form or banked points if applicable. For the state bank use, you will call crew scheduling and designate your state bank for the call. Then provide substantiating evidence only if the absence is during one of the 3 allowable verification periods and the leave is 4 or more consecutive workdays. Thank you for watching, and please be sure to attend a roadshow for answers to your questions. The roadshow schedule can be found at contract2022.afaalaska.org/TA.